Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Audio Drive X podcast and the first video podcast of the Audio Drive X podcast. Today we have our first video guest. His name is Brady, and he is from the band Saturn's Downfall from Pennsylvania. Welcome, Brady. Tell us a little bit about your band and what to expect.
For sure, man. No, I just want to say thanks so much for reaching out and the kind words, that we talked about before we went live here about the band, the music, and stuff like that. So I greatly appreciate it, and an honor to be the first one. So that's pretty sick, man. Thank you.
That's right.
But yeah, yeah, for sure. Rock and roll, man. So really just I've been doing this a long time, so I've been in and out of a lot of bands over the years, and I've been playing drums since I was 16 and all that fun stuff. So it's kind of been how do I want to say it, man? I've just been kind of wired to just grind and just kind of been in and out of bands and just keep building up opportunities and meeting new people and doing that whole thing. And I'm sure we'll dive more into it. But this current project, everything I've ever experienced with previous bands not working out or with people or whatever it may be, almost getting there or not, led to this moment to create my baby. So this is Saturn's Downfall, and this is my little baby. And it's something I'm super proud of and pushing really hard right now. So
Nice. And for my regular listeners, I'll probably say it again. Make sure you check these guys out. I came across them on Instagram, and I reached out to Brady and the rest of the guys, and they were very nice enough to afford me the opportunity to do an interview. And yeah, they're a very good band. I got hooked right away. Anyway, so let's just kind of ask you a few questions, kind of for our listeners. So who, as a band and as a drummer, are your biggest influences?
oh man, so I guess I'll start with some of my influences as a drummer. One of my biggest influences would be Shannon Larkin, which is not now with Godsmack anymore, but was with Godsmack for a very long time. He was always one of my favorite. I always put him up there on that totem pole. You know what I mean? Super flashy, super fun, hits hard, has amazing grooves, super natural with playing drums, and that's kind of always stuck with me. You know what I mean? It's like the full package. When you go see him live, and that's something that I like to do too. Is like people are coming to pay to see a show, so he puts a show on. Man, he's just that extra punch with a live band, and that's somebody for myself that's been a huge influence. Of course, there's a lot of many other drummers. It can go to Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater to, of course, everyone loved the Rev. Avenged Sevenfold was a big one. To Travis Barker to, oh my goodness, I'm trying. Eric Moore, he's like a gospel church drummer. Like I like so many different styles of drummers. You know what I mean? I don't like to limit myself to just rock and metal, but I have a pretty wide range of drummers that I really like. But for me, that would be that. And I guess I can kind of speak for the band a little bit. Our ranges of taste, and influence really is across the board because just to kind of throw it out there now, so it's pretty cool. My pops is actually the guitar player in this project, so I've kind of grew up around that and him being in bands ever since as far back as I can remember. So I've kind of always been in that whole seeing the music scene and the music business and stuff like that. So he's played so many different styles of music growing up, so that really bleeds into what we're doing, and that's anything from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to the early 2000s. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. Sure. There's so much different influence. You can go from the band Yes to 3 Days Grace to Metallica to Tears for Fears, man. Yeah. So that's where that comes from. And then that's what I really grew up on. And then, of course, my singer Colby, which is, we went to high school together, so we're around the same age. So his dad never played in bands or anything, but also put him on the bands like Styx and Yes and a lot of those old school bands from like the 70s and kind of more of the 80s and even further back or whatever it is. But then Colby and I, that's where we relate because we really loved the early 2000s rock, like your 3 Days Grace, your Breaking Benjamin, your You know what I mean? Papa Roach, stuff like that. And he also loves so much different music that he's always showing me stuff in so many different genres, to jazz, to EDM, to dubstep, to pop. I'm like, he has a really huge wide range of music. So a lot of that all bleeds together into this, but also too was saying with his dad in that style of music, that's where we all kind of click and connect, because it's like Colby has the full package of that. You know what I mean? So he has like, he can relate to my
Yeah,
pops on his generation coming up and influences, and then myself, and it's just works really well. So it's pretty interesting.
yeah. Because that's one thing I noticed about as I was going through your songs. It was like,
Mhm.
listen to one song and then the next song sounds totally like different. It's kind of cool. You don't really see
Yeah.
that. Like I thought it was kind of neat. Yeah,
Yeah, no, we
you kind of
appreciate that,
cover.
man.
Yeah, but it
Exactly.
all works. Like, yeah, it all works. It's pretty cool.
A a hundred
Awesome.
percent, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would be your dream venue to play?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I guess, would it be cliche to say, Madison Square Garden would be pretty incredible? Something, I guess, that
Yeah.
really huge opportunity, or like the Sphere, would be incredible. There's a couple in there. You know what I mean? Even something not as big but still big, like Red Rocks in Colorado, would be pretty amazing. Um, Man, I'm trying to think of I have so many other ones. Hershey Stadium in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So that would be a big one that's, in our state, that, that's, I would say that's pretty far up there. That or the Giant Center in Pennsylvania would be pretty incredible. Haven't played those ones yet, but
Nice.
played some pretty close to that. So
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. It's funny. So you're the second person I heard mention the Red Rocks, and I think that gets overlooked nowadays. But
Mhm.
one of my earliest music, my journey into music and all that was watching a recording of Moody Blues at Red Rocks.
Oh,
And,
very
I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old when I saw that video. And I was like, that looks friggin' cool. Like just
yeah,
how
man.
they have the stage set. I'm like, that would be an awesome place.
Absolutely. I can't imagine what the sound would be like, the like resonating off the rocks. You know what I mean? The
Oh
amphitheater
yeah.
of it. I always hear that it just is incredible. And it looks beautiful too, man. Like, that would always
Yeah.
been a dream of mine, of that venue, like just like a nice summer night or spring night, or even
Yeah.
going into the fall. It's just a vibe. You know what I mean? But like you said, the acoustics and just the overall vibe of it's pretty incredible. You know what I mean? It's very unique.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a cool answer. That like I said, I heard one other person mention it, and I was like, that should be on like almost every musician's list, as far as I'm concerned, just
For
because of
sure.
that the picture of it. It was just
Oh, most
awesome,
certainly.
awesome, awesome. So, what is what do you consider the most underrated album?
That's a tough question, because I can't
Yeah,
just pick one. There's probably multiple of them, and one that always does stick out to me is, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Alien Ant Farm, and they were always known for doing
yeah,
the cover "Smooth Criminal." You know what I mean? They're known for that cover, and if you go
yeah.
back and watch some of their interviews, they talk about that song technically wasn't supposed to be a single. The record label pushed it
Hmm.
while they were overseas, if I'm not mistaken, and that became the big hit for them. And that whole record, I think it's Anthology, I believe it's called. Like, I think that's one of the
Yeah.
most underrated records. Like, the front to back, I can listen to it
Okay.
a million times and not get sick of it. But they're just so good. That's definitely one up there for me, and I might have to give it to them guys on that one for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it because they did have what was the other song they had? Movies, I think it was called.
Yes. Yep.
I
And it's on that
Yeah,
record.
so
I
I
believe
know
it's on
that's
that record.
okay.
Yep.
I'll have to give that a listen because that is a band that I've been meaning to check out because I've seen several like clips from other people on Instagram saying how underrated they are, and you know, and that's right around my
Absolutely.
era too. Yeah,
Yep.
Pretty cool. I might have to check that out. Maybe I'll listen to it tomorrow morning on my drive to work.
There you go. You won't regret it, man.
Cool.
I think you'll enjoy it.
No. I'll try it.
That'd be awesome.
Um, what uh would you say is the most influential event in music history?
Mm. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I guess it would. I mean, one that sticks out to me immediately is like Live Aid. You know what I mean? Like Queen and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, there was just so many artists. So it was just such a stacked, incredible bill and so many incredible moments. You know what I mean? Right back to it, Queen. You know what I mean? That moment of him working the crowd like he did with I don't even remember how many total people that was, but that's one that sticks out to me. Or of course, like Woodstock is iconic as well, or maybe not in such
Yeah.
a good way, but Woodstock '99. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like it's either good or bad stuff, but I mean those moments are like unforgettable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And good, and it goes both ways, but most of them good, but less some bad stuff. But yeah, those are ones that stick out to me immediately for sure.
For sure. And I've said this in an interview before. Somebody else had mentioned Woodstock 99, and I'm like, for what it was,
Mm-hmm.
it put a lot of bands really on the map. Um,
Yeah.
it's probably the biggest event. I'm assuming you're around my age as well,
Mhm.
late 30s, early 40s. Uh, that's probably the biggest event, a music event of our lifetime, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
I
It really is.
most yeah, and I'll always remember that. Just even though I wasn't there, but I remember, seeing the footage on the news and like, there was like
Yeah.
the fires and like everything that was going on. I
Yeah,
kind of
man.
think that kind of changed. I think that changed the music scene, to tell you the truth.
I
That it
agree.
kind of, yeah. That's when I think the heavier, like the new metal really start, even though it was kind of there before, but the
Hmm.
new metal really started taking over after that. In my opinion, like,
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I think so too,
yeah,
because it was like that was definitely peak. Like that's peak. Like new metal just exploded the scene because it just
yeah,
kind of slapped a bunch of
yeah,
people of like, what's this? You know, like it's exciting and amps you
that's
up.
right.
It was
It
just
took
a
for sure,
yep.
for sure. That's awesome. All right. What would you consider your top three favorite albums?
Oh man, you're throwing some hard ones at me here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I guess my top three favorite albums. Um. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. Oh my goodness, I gotta think for a second because there's just so much music. You know what I mean? Because then I also when I get these questions, I'll second guess myself, and then an hour later when we're done this, I'll be like, oh, I should have said this record by this band.
Yeah, for sure, for
Um,
sure.
for sure. I mean, I would definitely say one that definitely sticks out is "Escape from Hellview" by CKY. That was something that really was pretty influential for me album wise when I was younger. I still think that holds up. You know what I mean? I think that's more of like a nostalgic thing, and there's just cool like
Yeah,
that mix of rock with the vocals and the guitar work and the groovy drums. You know, it's has a lot of different influence in it with the synth and all that kind of fun stuff. I would say that would be one. Another record. Oh my goodness. I really love. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the title of it at the moment, but I can picture the album cover. Godsmack's first record. I really love that one. It
oh
has
yeah.
yeah, it has Bad Religion on it and Noon Baby and all them songs. I don't know why I can't think of the title, but that's another one up there for me. And I would say probably Infest by Papa Roach. I really love early 2000s rock bands, and those two bands specifically, Godsmack and Papa Roach, are my. I have a big love for those bands, and I'm not afraid to admit
Yeah.
it.
Well,
So
you know
those would
what?
be some of my.
I find Papa Roach very underrated.
Yes,
Like a lot of people
absolutely.
know them from like obviously Last Resort, but that whole
Yep.
album, which is what Infest, I think,
Yep.
that album is really good. I recently gave that a listen just on my drive into work one day, and I was like, I could really get behind this, and I don't even care if Last Resort was even a song on there. It's a good album.
Exactly.
Actually, that's
Exactly.
one of yeah, that's one of the songs that I like least from them. To tell you the truth, on that album, I've
Hey, nothing
yeah,
wrong with that,
it's
man.
good.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm into like all sorts of music, so I mean, I yeah, as long as it's a catchy song and that, like I said, that's what really caught me with you guys, and it was
Hmm.
that and it was you actually. The now that I found out that you're the drummer, uh, your drum work in Ready to Go is like really crazy good, man. Like that intro is awesome.
Dude,
I
thank you very much.
I just have a big I love hearing like a good drum intro like that. It was cool.
Oh, dude, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah,
It's fun because the last couple bands I've been in for like the last probably decade, I haven't really gotten to record and write drums because the era that we're in, plus when you kind of join somebody else's band, which is fine, you got to kind of champion that. And now there's the opportunity to write drums on the computer and stuff like that. So program shit. So now I get to
yeah,
play my own drums and write my own parts and really showcase, I guess, what I've been building up after all these years. You know what I mean? So it's nice to
for sure.
finally let out all that inspiration that I've had built up to actually be able to let it on these songs, which is pretty cool. So,
Nice. Yeah, that's
yep,
awesome. Um,
yep, for sure.
so that kind of concludes the question part of this interview. Is
Awesome.
there can you tell us what's coming down the pipes for you guys in the near future and
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I
what?
mean, we're definitely planning on releasing more singles. And my goal is just to keep doing that until we're able to. Well, we're currently recording an album as well, which is really cool. So we
Okay.
want to do 10-song album. The next song we're going to release, which I'm actually hoping to get it set for a release 4 weeks out from Friday, is the leading single off the album, which will be really cool. And we
Oh,
actually write and record, produce, mix, and master all of the music ourselves. And I do all my drums down here, the mix and mastering and stuff like that. And my singer, him and I bounce back and forth. So usually maybe once a month or whenever when we're working on a couple tracks, I'll go with him and kind of walk through some vocal stuff if he needs help or vice versa. But we do everything ourselves in house, man. So same with the marketing, you know what I
nice.
mean? It's everything we've kind of learned ourselves over the years. We're like, hey, let's do stuff that we want to do and just have fun with it. And if people connect with it and like it, then
For sure.
that's a bonus. You know what I mean? We're happy to make music that people can relate to, and it's real. That's the
Yeah.
thing about this band too, is we're writing about real experiences and the
Yeah.
music that we grew up and loved. So we want to make it as authentic as possible. So that's what this is about, and that's kind of what's down the pipeline. We have some shows planned. I can't say too much there, which is there's
Yeah.
one in particular that's kind of in the air for the summer, which would be crazy if it happens. But that's all I'll say. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty much it, man. Just keep recording music, keep releasing stuff, keep building the bands. There's other plans on top of that. It's just we want to keep hammering out the music and keep building the band. And some areas it's taken time, but some areas it's really popping off too. It's like the Facebook page is really popping. I think we just broke like 50,000 followers over there, and
Oh, nice.
Spotify just hit 40,000 monthly listeners, and I think we've been active for 9 months. So
Oh,
the
wow.
goal is just keep hammering it, man, and just keep building the band up. Like I said, there's some areas we're still trying to break through on, but that's just the experience over the years. The last band I was in, I built up pretty big, and we did quite a bunch of big stuff, which was cool. And prior to that, but that's this band. We just want to go all the way with it and try to explode it as much as possible. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
to all my listeners out there, again, this is Brady, the drummer from Saturn's Downfall. Follow them on Instagram. They're on Spotify. Where else can they find you, Brady?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Because we're pretty much everywhere. You know, like you were saying,
Okay.
Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music. The best thing I always tell people is if you Google search Saturn's Downfall, you'll find us on every platform, every social media, every streaming. That's the thing I always say that'd be the easiest. So
Awesome. Well,
sweet.
thanks again, Brady, and
Oh, dude, my
thanks
pleasure.
for doing this interview with me. Appreciate it. Like, you guys have a fan for sure, and me, and I'm hoping some of my fellow listeners, I'm sure they'll start following you. If the ones that are like me, anyways.
Right
So,
on, man. No, we
awesome. And
greatly
keep pumping out
appreciate
that
it.
music. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Keep pumping out that good music.
You got it, brother. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. It's been a good time being on here, and thank you so much for having me. And
Thank you.
we look forward to coming back on when you do those live streams, man. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, man. I'll keep you in touch.
Awesome, brother.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, man. It was a pleasure talking with you. Hey, and you had great questions too. I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thanks,
You
man.
did great.